Stay. It's cold. Hey guys. Colt's gonna be eating a whole salmon head today. Leave it. If you can see how big that is. Doesn't that look yummy? We're gonna wait for a few more people to join before I let him start. No, leave it. Stop. Salmon is like his favorite, so clearly. Logan, your pit bull loves salmon. Yeah, he loves salmon too. Salmon is a really good fish for dogs. How are we doing? We're doing good, thank you. Wait. He is impatient. It's still kind of frozen because with fish and wild game and stuff like that, super important for you to deep freeze it for a good amount of time. I do about a month just to make sure. Parasites can be an issue in fish and wild game and certain things like pork, stuff like that. So I get his salmon heads from Alaska, but from a good fishing area without any mercury or metals or anything in the fish. So it has low levels of the dangerous things for dogs. And the parasites have been frozen, so they die. If there was parasites, they've been frozen. Sorry, I'm a little shaky. I think my blood sugar's low. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Okay, I'm gonna let him eat now, so you guys can see him eat. Amen. That's our release command for him to eat, is amen. Is it eat the head? He can eat whole salmon. He can eat the entire thing. The heads are really good because it has bone, meat, and the brains inside. For raw feeding, dogs are supposed to have secreting organs as part of their meal. 10% secreting organs, 10% of that needs to be liver. But it doesn't have to be for every single meal as long as you're balanced over time. Obviously, you want it to be like within a few days. You don't want to continue to feed your dog non-balanced for a long period of time. But just for one meal is okay, but this is more of like a snack. So at least he's getting some secreting organs, some meat, some bone in the head. Because there's a ton of meat attached to this. It's not just the head, but there's meat and bone and the brain, so it's really good for them. We love you too. Where do you get the fish? Kali Paz asked. Well, it just really depends. This fish is from Alaska, good fishing grounds in Alaska, but you can get them at different stores. And if it's human grade food, they have to list where it's from, for the fish anyway. So I make sure to pay attention to where it's from, and this one is from a good area of fishing in Alaska. So salmon actually have pretty sharp teeth and everything, so you can see the whole mouth is pretty much gone now, and the teeth and everything, but you can see that he chews it up really good. It won't hurt him. The bones won't hurt him either. A lot of people think that bones are going to hurt the dog. If they're cooked or smoked, yes, they will. If they're raw, they won't, unless they're weight-bearing bones, which are too strong for the teeth. So they can have them, but you have to know your dog. If your dog is gonna just go all out on the bone and break his teeth because the bones are too strong, the weight-bearing bones, then you obviously don't want to give your dog those. But Colt has had meaty bones in the past of, knuckles and stuff, raw bones. and I just watch him. He's obviously, as you can see, he's not he doesn't gulp it down. He's not he loves his food, but he's not a crazy eater. I don't know how to explain that. He doesn't gulp, he doesn't eat too fast or anything. I like doing it frozen for days like this where it's really hot outside. It's just like a kind of like us having a popsicle. So he gets like a cool meal, plus it's less messy because fish is really slimy and hard to hold on to, and when it's frozen it's a lot easier. You're drawing Colt right now. Collie Paws, you're so sweet. We love you and Colt so much. Devora and service dog Juno. Thank you, Devora Rose. That's very sweet. We love you too. Do you have any tips for training guide work? I'm gonna stay away from most of the service dog stuff right now. If you guys want to do a live with me for service dog stuff, I could totally do that. But the only type of guide work that Colt does is just for like anxiety and overstimulation and stuff. So I'm not visually impaired in any way, but obviously there's different guide work than just that. But yeah, I do have a few things that I have taught Colt. And I could help with that if you want to DM me, or I can do, if you want to request a live or request a video or something, I can try and do my best. Yes, this is a salmon head. For the people that weren't there when I said so, this is a salmon head. It's probably about 2 pounds, maybe 2.5 pounds, I think. I got some bigger ones and some smaller ones, just depended on what they had. So I think this is a 2.5 pounder. It's really good. Salmon is a really good fish for dogs to eat, but you have to be very careful about any wild game, wild fish, anything, fish in general. Even if you get it for human consumption, they're assuming that you're going to cook it. If you're doing it raw for your dog, you want your dog to have it frozen for at least a good month to kill parasites in a deep freezer. Jeez, Colt. He's getting in the camera. So you don't want your dog eating parasites, obviously. That could be dangerous. The sun is really hot today. It feels very nice. This is satisfying to watch. I love watching him eat. I'm wearing a glove right now. I'm not really grossed out by any of this stuff. The blood, the fish, all of that kind of stuff. But fish is one of the smellier things that I prefer not to have on my hands for a really long period of time because it takes forever to get the smell to go away. So yeah, I'm wearing gloves just because I move it around occasionally, help him, gnaw on it better, because it's kind of hard. He's actually trained not to use his feet. I know a lot of, wild dogs, coyotes, foxes, whatever, hold their food down with their feet while they're trying to adjust it or just hold it down so they can gnaw on it. He's trained not to because of the bacteria factor. A lot of people message me and say that it's dangerous to feed raw. I've been doing this for years with many, many dogs. I used to train military canines, and our families were German Shepherd dog breeders in California. We had a good lineage of German Shepherd dogs, but they got too old to do it. They couldn't do it anymore. But it was a real breeding operation that we would do for the police department and military. And now they still use German Shepherds, but they're widening their variety of breeds now and Malinois and stuff, but obviously we're not doing it anymore anyway. Where was I going with this? Oh gosh, I'm sorry, people. Gosh, I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, okay. Yeah, we've been raw feeding that whole time for years. My entire childhood, we've been raw feeding. So my whole life, I know that it's not gonna be dangerous, but there are certain things that you have to take precautions. So that's why there is people that think certain things about raw feeding. If you're not doing it right, you're not doing it right. It's as simple as that. So freezing is very important for the parasites, and knowing the amount of food that you're supposed to get and the amount of the rations of different portions, where you're supposed to do 80% muscle meat, 10% bone, edible bone, and 10% secreting organs. 5% of that needs to be liver. Also, just knowing the fact that they need a variety. You can't just feed them chicken their whole lives. That they need some fish in their diet for omegas and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that you need to know for raw feeding, and I purposely trained him. As you can see, he's not using his paws at all, because he would transfer the bacteria from the fish onto his paws, and then he would walk in my house or get on the couch or whatever, touch me with his paws, and then he would transfer the bacteria from his paws to wherever he touches. So that would be just a disaster. So I watch him every time he eats. The entire time he eats, I watch him to just make sure if he were to choke on a bone or whatever, just like us. I mean, we could choke on potato chips or whatever. They could choke too, no matter what they're eating, whether it's kibble or raw feeding. So you have to watch them because things happen. And so he's fine eating raw bones. They're not going to hurt him at all. There is the possibility of choking just like any other food. So you just should supervise them, and I trained him not holding it with his paws just for that reason. It's my personal preference. Some people do, and it's fine. They'll let him eat outside and then leave him out there for a certain amount of time, or wipe their feet or whatever before they come in. There you go. About how much in raw feeding per a week/month? Kate Baum, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Are you asking if he eats full raw, or are you asking how much food it takes to feed him for that amount of time? Just ask again. I'm not sure what you meant. Oh, were you asking price? Okay, price. It varies. Colt, hang on. It varies depending on what protein source, like I was talking about, how you have to give them a good variety. So it can vary depending on what protein source you're using. If you're buying a lot of, salmon's very expensive. So if you're buying a lot of salmon, of course the price is going to be higher. But on average, I would say he eats about $400 a month. So it's not cheap, but he's a big dog. A lot of people don't realize, like, he makes the salmon head look small, and this was like a 2.5 pound salmon head. He's about the measurements of a Great Dane. Obviously, he's not on the larger side of the measurements on a Great Dane, but he's pretty big. Hey lady, any recommendations for old pups with sensitive teeth? Are you saying for raw feeding or just in general? I personally have not had a dog with sensitive teeth, so I could recommend, if that's what you're asking, some raw foods that are softer, but I don't know about any veterinarian type advice for sensitive teeth, if that's what you're saying. We tried the raw diet and it didn't work for us, but the raw diet is amazing in general. Panic for the service. Pause. Sorry. Yeah, it doesn't work for everybody, and it's not that that it's bad or something if you can't do it. as long as you try your best to give your dog, something healthy, make sure that they have food and that they're given the best that they can. I mean, I personally would make sure that I could still do a raw diet no matter what. If I possibly was unable to do what I'm doing right now, I would at least go and get a raw blend, pre-made blend, a good brand of pre-made raw blend at least, even if I couldn't do this anymore, because it's not for everybody. It takes a very, very long time to prepare it all and to pre-portion everything and weigh it out and all that stuff. It takes a long time. It's not an easy task. It's pretty much a full-time job, and it's pretty expensive. A lot of people can't afford it, so it's very understandable if you can't do raw. Is it okay to mix some raw with kibble? Haley, my service shadow, asked. Oh, sorry, Harley. It's up to the individual and their dog. If your dog is easily upset by changes in their food, kibble and raw break down so much different in a dog's stomach. So sometimes it's not good to do a mix. Sometimes it's better to have them have their normal kibble, say breakfast, and then for dinner do a raw, something like that, because the stomach isn't struggling to eat. Here, pick this up. He's almost done. The stomach isn't struggling to break down the kibble differently than the raw food at the same time. Instead, it's doing it at different times. But then again, if your dog has a sensitive stomach to changes, then that might cause an issue. So it really just depends on you and your dog. A lot of people give treats every now and again. Some people will do just a whole fish as a treat. Some people will do the turkey neck every Thanksgiving, and the giblets. And some people will give them chicken feet or duck feet or whatever, and as just like a little snack out on the patio or whatever. So it's really up to you and your dog. Would raw be okay for dogs with sensitive stomachs? Raw is actually really good for dogs with allergies, sensitive stomachs, stuff like that, skin problems. Raw feeding has been proven to take away allergies in a lot of dogs and skin issues and sensitive stomach issues and stuff like that. But then again, it also depends on your dog. Like I was saying, some dogs just don't have a good stomach for it. So it really just depends, and it's something that you have to try. Sometimes you'll find out that your dog is only allergic to chicken or only allergic to fish or whatever. And as you're feeding raw, you'll figure that out, and you just won't feed the, say, chicken again or whatever. You'll do turkey instead. So it can help. It could help eliminate stuff. I've seen dogs, like if you look at Colt, he's actually really shiny from his raw diet. There's a bug attacking him right now. He's really shiny because of all the, I do some supplement stuff. So I do coconut oil, olive oil, and apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. The olive oil and coconut oil are very good for the digestive tract. They're good for the skin and the fur. They make them super shiny. Apple cider vinegar with the mother in it is really good for the immune system. And just in general, I drink it myself. But yeah, he's super shiny from his raw feeding, not just those supplements. He also has, if you look at his teeth, come here. Woo! There you go. If you look at his teeth, he has white teeth all the way back. There's no tartar or yellow or anything. His raw diet actually brushes his teeth for him. I have occasionally brushed his teeth, but it's not anything that I need to like put on the schedule and be like every 6 months brush his teeth. It's something if I notice there's any buildup or anything, I'll brush his teeth, but it is so rare. He doesn't even really need his teeth brushed at all. His gums and everything get rubbed down very healthily while he chews. I mean, if you think about it, grinding through bone and meat, it helps brush his teeth. So he's never really needed his teeth brushed. He doesn't really ever need his ears cleaned because it's just such a healthy diet that he doesn't really get like back up in his ears or anything. It doesn't mean you shouldn't. I'm just saying that it really helps. A lot of dogs have issues with anal gland expression and stuff like that, especially smaller dogs. He's never had issues with that or never had full anal glands because of his raw feeding. He's also pretty much pure muscle. What are some other good benefits of it? There's a lot. I mean, his potty is, I would say, a third, even a quarter the size of what it used to be on a very high quality kibble. Even on a high quality kibble, his on the raw, it's because there's not much to waste when he's eating a raw diet because it's so healthy. There's not much that his body doesn't use for energy and exercise and everything. So when he goes to the bathroom, it's very small, and then his poop actually turns into a white powder after 2 days or so. So if you have a dog on raw feed, you don't actually have to pick up your backyard. It will literally just go back into the ground. So his potty is, as a service dog, I pick up his potty. If I'm going into a store, I have him go to the bathroom beforehand, I'll pick it up. But if Colt, come here. Let's go. I'm going to bring him back over here because we've been wandering. Come on. Colt, leave it. Sorry. I'll pick it up because I'm in a public area, and obviously I don't want to leave that for someone to have a issue with. It's dog poop. Nobody likes to see dog poop around. But in my own yard, I don't need to pick it up ever. In a couple days, it turns white powder, falls back into the ground. Another good thing about raw feeding and his poop is that he actually sorry, with my brain injury I get super confused when I'm talking sometimes. It's so hard that even if you do step in it, it's not like normal poop where it squishes into your shoe and you can't get it out. I hope that makes sense. It's like hard. It's like stepping on stones basically when you walk on it. So you're not gonna have like poop around on your shoes or anything, even if you stepped in it in those 2 days that it's taking to break down. So there's a lot of positives about it. There's a lot more than that, but Colt's done eating now, so I will probably go now. You guys have been great. I'm gonna read some of your comments real quick. Lost audio, can't hear anything. Oh no, is anybody else lost audio? Okay, you said I have sound. I also have sound. Okay, it's back. iPhone conspiracy. I feel that all the time, cat bomb, seriously. Okay, if you DM'd me, I will get to you as soon as I can. I do get many DMs a day, and so sometimes, come here. Or my dog was scraping his back feet, and he knows he's not allowed to do that. You're naughty. You thought just because you're on live that I'm not going to yell at you? Colt, down. So, yes, if you DM me, I will get back to you as soon as I can. You need to listen. And I will definitely try to make sure that I give you as much information as I can, and we can talk about if you want to request a video or something. Do you worry about salmon disease? No, I do not worry about salmon disease. Like I said, if you feed the right salmon, if you freeze it and all that stuff, you don't need to worry about it. You know, if you want to personally worry about it, that is okay. I am not worried about it in the slightest. My dog gets every 6 months he has a mandatory checkup instead of, you know, like yearly. Most people do yearly. He gets one every 6 months just because he's my service dog. But yeah, he gets a checkup every 6 months, and he has always been in tip-top health. I've never had a problem with dogs through my entire lifetime of experiencing this. My family's never had a problem with it. We've all fed raw to our dogs since before I was even born. So we have a lot of experience with it. I'm not worried about it. It's great to see you guys up and about. We've missed you. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. You have a wonderful day too. Where do you get your meat? It really just depends. Wherever we can go to get all of it at the same time. Sometimes we can't, and so we go to multiple places. So it really just depends. Most of the time we go shopping for 2-week periods. So every 2 weeks we'll go. But for about a month, it's about $400 that his raw food costs. So also another thing that can cause bacteria to spread that a lot of people don't think about when feeding raw. He's not allowed to touch his food besides with his mouth, so he's not allowed to hold it down or anything. And if he needs help, you know, I'm gloved and ready to help him just because fish smells nasty. But I'm not scared to grab it with my bare hands. But if he needs help, I'll hold it for him so he doesn't get it on his paws. But another thing is, don't let them drink out of their water bowl after. First of all, they get a lot of water from the meat that they eat. They get a lot of water in general. So it's not like he's dehydrated or gonna die because I don't let him drink from his water bowl for a few hours after. That's just because the bacteria is still in his mouth a little bit. And, you know, after a little while, it will just start going away. I mean, he swallows it all. It breaks down in his mouth and stuff, so he won't have, like, the bacteria for, you know, the whole day or anything in his mouth. So he always eats hours before we leave the house in the morning. And he doesn't get to drink until until a certain amount of time, which he never really desires to. But he also doesn't get to play with his toys or anything at that point. And I know that people are going to be like, man, you take away his toys. Actually, he doesn't really request to play with his toys during that time. It's kind of just a nap time for him to just digest his food is what I allow him to do. We don't really go out and play or anything after he eats because of the fact that he could get bloat or flip his stomach or something. When you're very full and you exercise, it's not good for you. Colt, come. So I don't want him to get sick, and there's a dog over there that's not very friendly. I don't want him to get sick or hurt or anything, so he actually just relaxes after and sleeps for a little bit. And that's normally why people get tired on Thanksgiving, is because when you eat a lot of food, you get tired. So he just kind of... How many times does Colt eat a day? He eats, depending on what it is, twice a day. Sometimes he eats once a day. Sometimes he has fasting days where he doesn't eat at all. So it really just depends on what my dog wants. If he's still hungry after he eats something, I feed him something else. I feed him until he is happy, or I don't make him eat if he doesn't want to eat. It's just how dogs are in the wild. They'll eat as they get food. Come here. Lay down. They'll eat as they get food, and they'll not eat as they don't have food. I don't know if that made sense. Like, it'll take them a while to hunt for food, find the food or whatever. Some days they just don't eat at all, and it's all up to my dog. And it's, he's not underweight or anything. This person says, are the rumors about you true? And you know what? I don't know what rumors. I sure hope not. love everybody, and I'm gonna just stay out of drama if there's drama going on. And I hope you stay out of it too, because no one needs drama in their life. What are some good slimming exercises for doggos? It depends on your dog and the breed of your dog. It's a lot of dogs nowadays are fat. Just saying. People think that they're in a good weight just because that's the stigma nowadays, is that someone like Colt is too skinny and is going to die because he's emaciated. And this is actually a very healthy weight for a dog. So people think that fat dogs now are normal. So it really just depends on the breed and if your dog has any health issues or hip issues or anything like that. But just a constant exercise, regimen where, you do a little bit every day or twice a day, a tiny bit twice a day, or maybe if, your dog has health problems and can only do it when he can, you just do it when you can. It's best to ask your vet, because I'm not a vet. I will give advice as much as possible, but I am not a vet, so it's best to ask your vet. You guys are both working on your weight. Well, I'm proud of you. That is really good. Very, very good. And you guys can do it. We're cheering you on. I know it's not easy. I have problems with my weight from my medicine a lot of the times, and also my disability can cause me to have a lot of periods of time where I'm not able to exercise or do really anything, and that it's very hard. It's not easy, but you can do it. Does Colt know how to swim? Does he like water? Colt absolutely loves water. Actually, I'll take you down there right now. Colt, come. There is a creek right by my house. I mean, it's more than a creek. It's more like a river. It just depends on where the water level's at. Heel. There's this trail system too. As you can see, there's all these bikers going by. But there's this huge river thing, and it is something Colt absolutely loves to swim in. We're not going to do it right now. Come! Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. Just come here. Rest in peace, headphone users. I didn't want him to get hit by that bike. He was going like 30 miles an hour down that hill. Okay, so here is the... Go! Here's the creek area. Oh my gosh, this hill is going to kill me. Woo! Okay. Oh, look, there's ducks. Leave it, Colt. You're not allowed to chase after him right now. I don't want you getting wet. But yeah, there's a... It's actually really low right now. I haven't been down here in a while. It's more like a stream now. Creek, whatever. But it's normally a lot deeper. Wow, it is really shallow right now. But yeah, there's depending, I guess, on the weather. I don't know. It's normally a lot higher than this. We come out here with his water toys and throw his water toys for him. Obviously, you can see it's like sand and stuff. There's nothing. I can't say there's nothing dangerous, but I only let him go in certain areas. Obviously, I wouldn't want him to get hurt. But since it's just sand, most of the time he's fine. Cole, come here. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, guys. If you have any more questions for me, and yes, to the question, does he swim? Colt, come. Let's go. Yes, he does swim too. I know the creek is not really swimming depth. Even when it's full, there is some spots that are swimming depth, but not that much. But yes, he goes in the pools and stuff when he can, and lakes and stuff like that. So he does full swimming as well. Do you ever have problems with the very getting overboard. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, you mean like aggressive issues or possibly biting you or something like that? I've heard of a lot of people that say things about that. I've never witnessed it, never had issues with it ever. Colt is a very slow eater. He doesn't gobble. He doesn't, choke himself up or anything like that. So he's not aggressive about it. And my personal preference, I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but my personal preference for him as a service dog, I would never allow him to eat something that looked like an animal. Like for an example, like one of these ducks. He eats duck all the time, but he doesn't think that those are his food because he gets ducks that are plucked and don't really look like that. He'll get a full duck, like the head, the feet, everything. And I'm totally fine with that. I personally just don't want him to associate that animal with food. And it's not that he has an aggression issue. It's to keep the dog from having some kind of aggression issue. Because he's around animals all the time. Like around the ducks. He has a high drive. So obviously, like right now, he wants to chase after them. But because I told him not to, he won't. But he has a high drive and everything, but he's not gonna go over there and maul a duck. Even if he chased it, if I let him chase it and he got it, he wouldn't kill it. He would just like you're interesting and really cool. He wouldn't try and kill it. But for an example, I've had bunnies. He eats rabbit. So I don't want him to be like, I can eat this rabbit because it's just like what I eat. So I would be giving him a skinned rabbit. It's just my personal preference. He still eats whole prey. I just personally give it skinned or feathered or whatever. I don't want him to. Maybe he does know already. It's just my personal preference. But guys, my phone is gonna die anyway, and I have just rambled. So I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Colt loves you. Colt, come here. You want to say bye? Say bye. Colt, look. Hey, say bye. Say bye. Say bye. Yes. Okay, we're gonna go. You guys have a great day.